Come on. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork you will not get anywhere else. Let's get into this quote, felony, end quote, that some Ohio politician has put on the table. All right, now, before I even get started, I have to let you know, especially if you're new to my world, I am a die-hard Michigan Wolverines football fan. I say die-hard, I mean lived through the App State loss, lived through the 8 straight losses to Ohio State, lived through to the point where this year when Texas planted the flag on the block M in the big house, I have a clip of that on my phone, and I go to it every once in a while just to motivate me, because the disrespectful times should lead to more motivation, should lead to more positivity. So that being said, as a diehard Michigan fan, I want to thank whoever this politician is for removing, and I'm not saying there was, but if there was any sort of contentment, any sort of, hey, we beat Ohio State 4 years in a row, so let's lay off, let's slack off in the hunger, let's slack off in the workouts, let's slack off in the off season. If there was any of that, this Ohio politician, I don't even know his name, I think it's Williams or something like that, this Ohio person that put this bill on the table removed any of it, and now you've made it so Michigan becomes just as hungry, just as angry as if we lost 8 times in a row. Because instead of you accepting loss, so let me just explain to you what actually happened and what blew up in the news. So apparently there was some assembly meeting, and there was some Ohio politician who wanted to make it a felony for planting the flag, not on just in general. Now that's what I'm saying. As a fan, I was on camera admitting, hey, I'm not a big fan of flag planting and stuff like that. I'm old school. I believe in, hey, go win your game, go in the locker room, celebrate, do your thing. I'm not personally a big fan of the flag planting thing, but I'm starting to become a bigger fan of it because of this nonsense that we got to deal with. All right, so you put out a statement in which, and I remember I don't have the statement in front of me, so I can't read it to you verbatim, but I watched the Rich Eisen show. I keep up with the Rich Eisen show and some of the other fans, especially if you're talking Michigan football, I'm tuning in. So he read it all live on his show, and it wasn't a situation in which the flag planting is on every stadium in general. Like if it's a felony on every Ohio stadium and in Toledo and all the other great programs that they have in Ohio. It was only a felony if you did it on Ohio State's field. If you do it in the Horseshoe, then it becomes a felony. But the other schools, whatever, plant your flags all day. That is the part that's absolutely ridiculous. And again, like I said, as a fan, I thank you, because it leads to more motivation. It leads to us being a little more determined. And any, like I said, any hangover, any sense of contentment that might have crept up in the program going into this offseason, this Ohio politician removed it, because essentially what you're saying with that, and this is why I've grown, my fandom, my loyalty to this program has grown over the years from childhood to adulthood, while I've become more of a fan of the program, more in love with the program, is because instead of making the story about, hey, we have a walk-on quarterback who survived cancer a year ago, and he has a moment. We had a terrible season, and Sharon Moore was able to gather up the troops and get them motivated to win this really, really important game for us. We had a depleted defensive backfield, and guys stepped up. Our defensive line stepped up. Guys in the front seven stepped up. We played them tough, and just a group of resilient guys. Instead of that being the story, now, and this is where the politics come in. This is where the politics come in, because this politician knows that this is a ridiculous bill. He knows it's not going to get passed. But he knows that it's just going to become a public story. And now the story becomes, oh, that was just a group of felons that beat them. Those were just criminals. Those are the people who are just doing criminal activity, and that's the only reason that they won. So now that's the way the game is played. That's how politics works. And that's the BS. Again, I'm working on my swearing. I'm working on not using as many swear words as I used to just maybe a couple months ago. And that is the BS that this politician has done. And that's really the problem. That's really the problem. And again, I'm a football fan. I loved Jack Sawyer's response to it. I love the pride and the anger that he felt in that moment. That's a guy that I would want as a DN. That's the guy that I would like. He reminds me actually of the Bosas and Chase Young. Again, Chase Young from the area I grew up in. I have nothing against the Jeremiah Smiths or the Marvin Harrisons, the CJ Strouds. There's tons of fantastic football players that have played for the Ohio State. Justin Fields, you can name tons of them. It's this kind of stuff that's outside of players' control. And I was listening to other folks and they were saying it's this kind of stuff that actually creates the problem in sports in general, where you get politicians who are sore effing losers, bunch of sore effing losers, and they don't realize, hey, when I do certain things, the perception, these are kids. They're kids, man. They're kids. I mean, I know they don't, like I said, I think I said this yesterday or 2 days ago when I was talking about something else, but I know that these football players that play for these big time programs don't look like kids, but they are still kids, and they take that stuff personally, and you start to tarnish their reputation when you do when you have irresponsible adults that are going to put something out there that just makes no sense. And the bill just makes no damn sense. It makes no sense unless you were going to say, hey, every single stadium in Ohio, okay, now you have maybe some legs to stand on with this thing, but to single out one stadium, one university, and then decide, oh, that becomes a felony, and then to know how ridiculous it is, and then knowing that it's going to become public information. Now there's this team that just did something incredible, a 6-5 football team that's heavy underdogs that played their ass off. They played their ass off. Now you want to put it out there as if they're felons and they're some sort of criminals or some sort of wrongdoing, as opposed to taking the positive parts of what they did. That's just ridiculous. And again, as a fan, I'm happy that you've given us more motivation, more fuel to the fire. But as a human being, as an adult, it is incredibly sickening. It's incredibly sad that we continue to have politics continue to just kind of smear and ruin the sport and just make things a little more difficult for kids. You just got to stop doing it. Take your damn loss like a man, move on, and just say, hey, look, they got us this year and we're going to move on to the next. That should be the mentality. That's the mentality, all right? Again, I have a whole lot more to say because, this week I'm recording this. It is, Friday the 14th. I believe it is Friday the 14th. No, excuse me, Friday the 13th. And there's a lot of awards coming out this week. I got a lot to get to this week. Trust me, I'm going to tackle some of it later on in the live stream. I'm tackling turnover with teamwork. It's going to start in about an hour. But yeah, there's a whole lot of politics going on this time of year as the individual awards and the individual accolades and all the individual stuff starts coming out. We're going to start to see this. And this is where I'm in my sweet spot. Again, growing up in the DMV, being dedicated to the game of football, I was like a twig in a twig. I was mixed in with a lot of football and politics and business. That's just what it was. That just was the norm for me. So I'm gonna have a lot to cover over these next 48 hours. All right. All that being said, main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work, makeyamove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank and one and only Move Swiftly speaker checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.